Well done. So, welcome everybody. This is Tristan. Tristan's been in the Food and Frequencies Network for a couple of months now, haven't you? Excellent.
Yeah,
And we loved having him on board because he was one of two honorary male members. And both of our honorary male members are really have just engaged so much and brought so much into the community, and we really do value our men. And Tristan is based up in Northland, where I have been living for the last 4 years, and we met actually through sailing, like dinghy sailing, and my son was doing some dinghy sailing with Tristan. And we got to talking, and I found out that he was doing coaching, and he'd been doing it for quite some years, haven't you, Tristan? Sort of on the side. And I think he's a bit of a quiet, dark horse about it, really. And now he's starting to come out of his shell. And we love offering him opportunities to share in our community. And he's recently done a workshop on self-image, and now he's running a small series of workshops outside of Food and Frequencies, building on that. And I've been doing it. One or two of our members have been doing it, and I said to him, "Look, can you bring this in, especially with the build up for our Turn Back the Clock 6 month challenge, because it is the exact things that we need to be thinking of. Anyone who is thinking of joining us or a bit on the fence might be noticing that they got some of those usual stories coming up and reasons why they just can't do it, or they just can't commit, or it seems too hard, or they don't think it's going to work, or it's not the right timing, and all these excuses that and I'm going to call it excuses because they are, because and a lot of the time we're not necessarily fully attached to the desired experience we're actually really wanting to bring in, and we get in our own way. And so this is what tonight is all about. I've experienced Tristan to the first two sessions that he's done with this other group, and he agreed to come in and kind of combine them. So it will be what it will be, but it'll be valuable. So thank you everyone for turning up. And yeah, appreciate all of you that keep muted for it. And Tristan will invite you to engage if I'm sure when the time is right. And we always love to hear what you've got to share and what you've got out of it at the end of it as well. So we just wanted to extend this for all of our communities, get a taste of the workshops that we have every Wednesday, actually. And it's not just always Karen. In fact, we're really trying to share the load. And a lot of our members are on their own health journey, but are starting to now delve into and learn certain modalities themselves, because everybody, once they're on this journey, they find something that really resonates and they latch onto. And so we really encourage our members to, step forward and take some of these workshops each week. So we've always got something going on. They're called Wisdom Wednesdays. They're always at 7:30 on a Wednesday. So we just wanted to give everyone a taste of what we get up to. And this one's really relevant for our upcoming challenge, which starts on the 9th of April. So with that, take it away, Tristan. And thank you very much again for stepping up.
all right. Cheers, Deb, for the intro. Um, yeah, I've been involved in coaching and mentoring for well over 15 years now. Got my own journey around it where I went through severe depression and couldn't face the world, through addiction. And each time I've gone through these things, certain tools and processes, actions have come up, and I learned a lot of them when I was quite young. I was lucky enough to be exposed to some really great people when I was in my early years. And despite all of that, I walked myself into depression. Um, I think that's just one of the beautiful experiences looking back at it now, which some people may think is a little bit odd, but it's offered me so much from that place. And this self-image course came up for me, like I was drawn to bring it together a few months ago, actually probably a year ago now, when I'd been going to the gym and doing a little bit of working out, and I work pretty active every day, mowing lawns and trimming trees and doing that sort of stuff. So I'm no slouch. I'm regularly active, But I got to a point where I looked in the mirror and I really wasn't happy. I looked like a, excuse the French, fucking potato. Um, White with lumps in places there shouldn't be. It was an unpleasant experience, and yeah, I weighed 107 kgs. I'm 5'11", so I wasn't waddling down the road, but it was really unsettling for me. And at that point, I decided, okay, well, I'm going to reapply some of these aspects that I've picked up and I've learned through the years that I've found really powerful and useful. I've used them for going from I lost my job as a mechanic and went, okay, what am I going to do? Dot, 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 dot. A few months later, I'm working on super yachts, traveling the world and getting paid pretty darn good money. So these tools can be applied almost anywhere. And the trick of it is, well, one of the biggest aspects of it is in the second session, which is the one that Deb I ran through last Thursday. And so we're on to session 3 tomorrow night. Now, we'll get to that. And there's a reason that I've been spacing these out. The first week was really about our desired physical outcome and settling into that and connecting with what we really want. And the weekly spacing is really about honoring ourselves to take the time to bring the ideas up, sit with them, settle with them, reassess them, bring up other ideas. It's so often in this world, we make a decision and we go, oh, that must be it. And then we run off and try and do it. But that first idea is often not really connected very well to the core of what we're wishing to experience. So taking the week in between is quite an important part of how I've set my self-image course up. For this one, because we're working into this challenge coming ahead, I'm going with the idea that you guys have actually got some ideas and some things that you've been thinking about and considering for a while. So I'm going to try and squeeze it all into one night. So I encourage you, if you haven't got it now, grab a pen and paper. I'm going to get you to ideally jot some stuff down and take some notes, and I'll give you some time as it comes up. These self-image shifts, they're not a silver bullet. They're not something magical that's just going to make things happen and appear and without any effort. The sweat equity of fitness, which is the example I'll use throughout this, because fitness and our health is probably one of the easiest and simplest to connect with because we all know a bit about it. But the sweat equity is still required. The difference is that we start making decisions which are more aligned with it. We find those decisions easier to make. We find the actions easier to take. I've been getting up at 6 or getting up to be at the gym at 6 a.m. 3 mornings a week at the moment. Now, a year ago, that would have just sounded like hell. It would have just sounded absolutely freaking horrible. But now I'm like, oh, cool. It's 5:45. Jumping out of bed, getting dressed. I'm off to the gym. I'm getting there. And for example, I call it heart attack and dehydration training. Most people call it cardio. But I make a game out of it, and it's just amusing to me. But I really used to hate, and I use that word intentionally, hate the idea of doing cardio work. It just no interest. I didn't want to get sweaty. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to get hot. It's just uncomfortable. Now, when I go to the gym, I'll walk in there and I might have a plan to do, arms, shoulders, that might be my plan. I'll walk in there and I go, I feel like cardio today because cardio is more aligned with the goal I'm trying to achieve. So it's really interesting, the shifts and the changes, and it's about how we approach it, and when we come to lesson two, what we've put in our way. So to start off, lesson one or session one for me is our desired physical outcome and discovering what it is we're actually seeking. So what this is where I'll get you to start writing down, and I encourage you to jot a few things down now, and then over the next week, sit with them, expand on them, connect with them, find what feels right and more connected. So each time we're searching a little bit deeper into our heart, into our energetic center, rather than in the mind. The mind is a great tool, but the heart and the soul and the spirit is where the true joy comes from. And so this process of taking a week or two, or whichever works for you, to settle in and work with these ideas. So the first question is this: what is the desired experience you are seeking? Now, it can be a weight related, it can be I want to be able to walk 5Ks. Um, I it, it's ideal if we use something that's measurable for this, uh, at least to start with, to get the practice, to get the system, and get the experience running the system. You can do things like, oh, I want to feel healthier, but it's not really a definable thing. You can actually feel healthier, you can feel better, you can achieve it. But for this to start with, ideally sticking with something that's fairly simple and measurable. Um, Now, I've spent weeks working with clients on exactly this question. So I'm sort of condensing everything I can here for you guys. Um, it's really defining so much of it. So what is it I want? What is it I want to experience? The second question with that is that helps us get to it is, why do I seek this? So why am I seeking this? There's multiple possibilities, and the way that I define it, to keep it simple, is there's motivation, which is kind of running away from something. I'm motivated to do this because I don't want to ... And what we're going to work into as we go along here is inspiration. So motivation is an external pressure or an external situation that we try and create a force and a direction from. And that can be very helpful, at least to get us started. Then I like working with inspiration. Inspiration comes from the inside of us, and it draws us forward. And it's in that aspect that the goals, the questions, the actions, all of that stuff aligns more effectively. The decisions become easier and the actions become easier when we are inspired rather than motivated. So how I encourage people to do this is, what was the term the other day? Vomit, then edit. So writing everything down. It's a brainstorm. It's just an absolute list. Every single thing that comes up. We're not judging the ideas. We're not rating the ideas. We're not picking the ideas at the moment. It's anything that comes up, we're writing it down. One of the examples I use quite regularly with my clients is, okay, you want to increase $100,000 of income this year. You're writing down your list. For some reason, get a job at Burger King comes up. Write it down. When we analyze it later, it's not any reasonable step in getting that 100K income. but we're asking and inviting our mind and our creative juices to flow. It's kind of like turning on an old tap. Crank the handle, sort of splutters a bit, blows some crap out, some dirty water, some horrible water, and then eventually it starts flowing that crystal clear, clean water. And there may be some gold nuggets right at the beginning. There absolutely may be some gold nuggets at the beginning, because this is not going to be the first time you've thought about these concepts. But there are also likely to be some rusty crap that comes out as well. So it's literally just blowing it all out. Vomit every idea up onto that piece of paper. Then we're going to go back and take a look. And once you've done this and you've let it settle, I recommend writing it out and leaving it for at least a few hours, perhaps a day, and then coming back to that list and going, these are the top 5. These are the craziest 5. And the rest, they look pretty shit. So we got the top 5 and the crazy 5 that we're left with. Now, I like the crazy 5 because in those 5, there are probably some absolute gems. But at the moment, you're writing off those ideas because of some rule that you've got set up, some belief system you have right now. And as this process goes on, we're basically dissolving a lot of those belief systems and recreating our image and our belief in ourselves. So those crazy ideas are often where the real gem comes from. But the good ideas, the top 5 ideas, they'll often get you to where you want to anyway. Now, once you've selected your top 5, or you narrow it down, I want to get specific. This is very, very important. Getting very specific, laser focused. So for me, and I'll use the example of traveling, or you could use the example of buying a house, or any sort of thing like that. For me, with the fitness, I wanted to go from 107 to 95 kgs. I wanted to see some muscle tones, like my arms. Despite working all day, my arms, there was nothing there. But I wanted to see some start of some muscle tone. I didn't have any specific weights I wanted to be lifting or anything like that, because I really didn't have a clue. The real specific was the weight. And around that, I had feeling more energetic, and a lot of not particularly measurable aspects, but 93 kgs or 95 kgs was the goal. And I got to 93 fairly comfortably, fairly quickly, and it didn't seem like a struggle at all. And that was purely through applying the 5 steps. So when we're getting specific, we're talking location, smells, key details, really define and get into that physicality of what you're seeking. And that was that was effectively my first session. So sort of lock that off there, put a line across the page, and consider that over the next week. Now, going into session 2. Well, actually, no, before I go on, is there any questions? Has anybody got any questions or thoughts on that?
Yes, can you give us an example?
Oh, you've gone on mute.
Sorry, just to give us an idea of crazy. Can you give us an idea of some of your crazy ideas, or one of them, as opposed to a good idea?
Crazy ideas. One of the craziest ideas when I was seeking into finances was make $1 million on Bitcoin. When it came to fitness, one of the crazy ideas was go on a 3-month crash diet and be at the gym 7 days a week until I'm fully ripped and 0.1% body fat or whatever. Now, those were the extremes, and like making $1 million in 6 months trading Bitcoin. It's possible, but probably not with starting with $500 a Bitcoin. So it was a crazy, and it was an extreme idea. But through that action and through that intention, okay, well, making it in 6 months wasn't an option, but I now have things in process that are building my investments in that way. But yeah, so what's another one for the fitness? I wanted to bench press 100 kgs. Now, bench pressing 100 kgs is a heck of a job. At that point, I didn't really know a lot about weights, what weight I could do, or any of those things. So it was throwing down those ideas, just literally vomiting them out.
Yeah, okay. Because I'd like to do like 10 pull-ups, but I think in reality that would take me quite a long time to achieve.
I did 5 the other day.
Wow. Okay, cool. That's right. I can't even do one, so there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Okay. So
yeah.
not necessarily, just a little bit outside of realistic, but you'd
Um,
love to do it. I mean, it would be amazing if you could do it. Sort of thing.
well, it's looking for those ideas the good ideas tend to be, oh, I think that's possible. The crazy ideas are when you look at them and go, oh, no, that's not possible.
Or a stretch. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, when we shift the way we are viewing ourselves and seeing ourselves and connecting internally, and we become more aligned in our directions, those become not so crazy. And they may not actually be crazy, but we perceive them as such at this moment. Yeah, so don't write things off because you think they're impossible. That's the key of that part of the list.
Cool. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I think maybe I missed a step in here. I've written down what is a desired experience? Why am I seeking this? But then is there a how can I do this or something in there that I've missed? No? No?
Nope. We do not worry about the how at all.
So I'm just missing something then between why am I seeking this and the kind of examples you've given, because they sound like hows. No?
Not well, okay. The examples I've offered are, from my perspective, and this is where clarity is great to ask the question.
Yeah.
For me, reaching 95 kgs was the goal.
The goal. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't the how. The how is, we're not worried about how.
Okay.
This is one of the things we get into, and I'll give you a little tip on this one. There is only one guru in your life, and it's you. Nobody else can really honestly tell you what's best for you. I tend to, when I'm working with clients, I'm asking questions. I help my clients seek and gain clarity on what it is that's real for them. And as you're going through and you connect and align with yourself more, the questions kind of answer themselves on how. That question of how is one of the greatest ways that we get in our own way.
Yeah.
So right now, in specific, we're looking for where am I going? Where do I want to go?
Yeah.
What do I want to
Yeah.
experience?
Yeah. So when you say, why am I seeking this? You're kind of asking, what goal am I going to? Why?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it could be I want to lose 30 kgs so I don't have a heart attack next week.
Okay. Yeah.
It could be I want to wear a bikini next summer. It could be I want to compete in an Ironman.
Yeah.
So initially, the why is possibly going to be on a similar physical level. I want bigger arms so I can pick up chicks. Yes, something really, really simple. As a guy, it's a common one for us.
That's my one.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's just a slight language thing. I get it now. Yep. I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you for clarifying.
No worries. Anyone else? If not, we'll move on. Okay, cool. So session 2. Now, I started session 2 with catching up with my clients as to, in some parts, what they decided. Not because I need to know what they have decided, but rather to help them define and be specific about what it is they're seeking. So the questions I got there is, what have you decided on? Have you got good and detailed about it? And like I said, this is the specifics: the smell, the color, the heat, the temperature, all of those sorts of concepts. Every little detail to help paint a picture and connect with it. The next layer to this is a vision. It's an exercise which I learned a long time ago called time machine. Many have probably experienced something similar to this, and it's really simple. It's taking a moment, closing your eyes, having a few breaths, and then taking yourself to the place where you have already achieved this goal. And in this place, keeping your eyes closed, envisioning, connecting with, and really being, and that's the key thing here, being what it is you seek already, where it is you seek to be already. And this is where the details really come into it, because you're sitting on the beach on the tropical island, you can hear the waves crashing. You can smell the coconut, freshly cut coconut that's sitting in your hand waiting for you to take a sip. It's, feeling that beautiful warmth. That could be walking into the water and feeling that luscious, warm, tropical, crystal clear water as you walk into it. And bringing that detail that we've already created into the experience. So you are truly as 100% as possible there in that moment. And at this point, we ask the very, very interesting question. What am I feeling? How do I feel? What energy am I holding in my body? How big is that cheesy grin on my face, knowing that I've achieved ... how much is my energy and joy beaming out of my face right now? I'm exploding with joy. However it is for you in that moment. Let you just sort of write these questions down and consider them. And sort of session 1 was a week, and then this is session 2. So this is the second week. So please do honor yourself by taking the time with these and not rushing through them. Write them down, pour it out, and come back to it and feel it and experience it again. The more we get connected with, and the more often we hold this sensation of achieving this goal, what do we feel like? The more aligned we are with the actual experience. And in energetics, the more you're aligned with it, the more you're creating it, the more you're bringing it about. The other aspect here is it doesn't matter about the beach. It doesn't matter about the weight. It doesn't matter about the fitness. It doesn't matter about what we're actually seeking is the feeling of that moment. I've got some examples from a guy's perspective, and maybe Deb can jump in with one from a girl's perspective. But from a guy's perspective, a lot of guys will be like, "Oh, I want that big V8. I want that big car, and I want it to be fast, and I want it da da da." And you touch the throttle and it revs and it's loud and it's cool. That's the physical. How do you feel when you rev it up? What's that sensation, that energy that flows through you when you are doing that? Because that's actually what we're seeking. It's not the car. It's that sensation, that energetic experience. So I don't know if Deb's got one she could add there.
Not necessarily, but I really liked the way you were describing, for me anyway, joy, which is that, that exploding feeling of, warmth that, just permeates out of your pores and feels like it's coming out here. And yeah, feeling that about myself would be pretty goddamn amazing. And feeling it regularly, would be amazing.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. And this is one of the reasons I like spacing it out over the 2 weeks, because bringing in that physical concept and the idea and that we're partly aligning with the energetics of it. But when we have that in specifics, and then we jump into the energetic experience, the emotional, that whole buzz, it creates energetic alignment. We can aim for the physical, like we can go, "Oh, I want $1 million, da 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 da." What's $1 million? It's just a number. What are you going to do with it, and how are you going to experience with it? That's where the passion and the energy comes into it. So that was kind of the recap for session 1. Now we get into session 2 properly, and I call this the why not. It's not a question that a lot of people ask. And if they do, it's not a question they spend a lot of time on. It can be quite awkward. It can be very challenging. And the answer can be, I think I used the word elusive last time. It's also one of the most powerful questions we can ask ourselves. because this is the beginning of getting out of our own way. Now, I'm not talking about, oh, you know, I can't climb a hill, so I can't climb a hill. What we're seeking into is why we are telling ourselves we can't do something. Why we keep seeming to run into a wall each time we lean into this. So the questions with this are, why might I not want this? And what do I fear if I get it? One of the very interesting points of this is oftentimes what we're afraid of doesn't make any logical sense. It's a fear. It's, as some say, false evidence appearing real. It's perceived that we may lose something. It's more often a perceived situation than anything actually real. And it's one of those, it's like seeking out the walls of our comfort zone. It's seeking out the reasons that we've decided we're safe here and that out there is unsafe. What if it goes wrong? One of the most common questions which helps guide us, what if it goes wrong? Okay, what can go wrong? A lot of energetic workers and coaches and people like that, they go, oh, positive thinking, you know, think positive, you know, focus that way, don't put any energy into the negatives. I'm going to call horseshit. It's all very well to have a positive mindset in some ways, but what is positive? You know, a beneficial mindset is being aware of the entire circumstance. You can say, I'm going in this direction, I'm going in this direction, this is where I want to go. But if you don't look down and take the shackles off your ankles, it's going to be a bloody hard trip if you get there at all. So what this stage is about, and this seeking into ourself is about, is understanding what it is that we've put in the way. What are our belief systems which are stopping us? Or what belief systems of ours are we stopping ourselves with? A large part of this, and what some people find quite scary, is this stage is about ownership of the shit. It's ownership of what isn't pleasant to look at. You know, you're renting a home, you can't do much about it, but if you own a home, you can fix it. So the moment you own something, you're taking that responsibility on board, and you have the power then to change it. If it's somebody else, or it's something else, or if it's outside of you, and you seeing it as outside of you, then what power do you have to change it? For me, one of the things I was doing, and I recognized this sometime before I actually made the proper shift and started getting healthy again, was I was putting weight on to avoid attention from women. There was many aspects of that which scared me. We've all got horror stories from relationships, so I won't really get into that. But in long story short, I was trying to shut myself off from situations where I might get attention. Because if I'm unattractive, then there's going to be less attention. And so we are actually diving into some things that can be quite scary here. And so as you write these lists, and this is one of the most beautifully powerful aspects of this, as you write these lists of what do I fear, what am I afraid might happen, why might I not want this? There may well be some things you come up as you're writing down, and as you're writing them down, the emotion might start to shake your body. You might get the tears, you might have these things coming up for you. And I want to encourage you to see this as a beautiful opportunity. It's very freeing when we allow ourselves to recognize these things. So each time you write something down, thank you to yourself. Gratitude to yourself. Something comes up which is scary and you start crying, or there's a real sadness that overcomes. Allow it to be. Don't hold it back. Don't squash it down. Allow it to be. When we don't allow ourselves to feel the emotion, what happens to it? It doesn't disappear. It doesn't go away. We lock it inside ourselves, and it becomes part of our lens, part of our building blocks of life. And so we start building and seeing through these fears. They become an aspect of the decision-making process. So if you're sitting there and something comes up, and it could be from when you were 5 or 6 years old, it could be from any stage of your life, allow it to come up. Don't hold it down anymore. When I get to the end, we'll go through a breathing exercise, which is very powerful in this circumstance. But yeah, please don't. I highly recommend you don't squash it back down. Be free and let it out. A tool that helped me and I often find my clients help define certain aspects of what's going on for them is what Tony Robbins classifies as the 6 human needs. There's security and insecurity. There's kind of like safety and excitement. I should have brought this up. It's been a while since I did the Tony Robbins course. Yeah, certainty and variety. So safety, stability, predictability. Variety is your change, your novelty, excitement. Other than that, there's significance. So does it make you feel significant or insignificant? Connection. It's an interesting one. Are we seeking connection or are we blocking connection? And the last two are growth and contribution. So growth's quite a simple one to really look at. How am I growing through this? How am I stopping myself growing? And contribution, see if that comes into anything for you. But it's fairly easy to look up. So 6 human needs, and it'll pop up, just the list of them. And it could just be a really helpful tool of awareness to help guide you to look at different aspects that you may not already be looking at. So one thing I do really feel I need to say here, and this is a bit of a warning. I'm going to be very serious. When we start reaching into the things that we've built around us, our comfort zone walls, we're going to the edge of what we've perceived as safety. And we have a lot of safety responses within ourselves. This is very, very important. Please take note. When we go to these edges, the subconscious protection mechanisms kick in. Now, this can mean a simple avoidance. Oh no, I've got something to do. I've got to clean the kitchen. Oh, I've got to vacuum. Oh, da. It can also be brought up with illness. So you might all of a sudden find yourself sick. Oh no, I'm sick. I can't do it. It may involve injuring yourself, which I don't recommend. But I know this from my own experience that we can do things subconsciously or perhaps even beyond the subconscious, energetically, to protect ourselves. And if that's a mechanism that we've used before or we've seen before, it may be one we use. Another really common one is kind of an emotional overwhelm. We sit down and we go, okay, I'm going to do this. And we start to freak out. And that's a very, very common response to reaching out into these spaces which we've deemed are unsafe. Now, the interesting thing about human beings, we will not move until discomfort of staying still outweighs the perceived discomfort of moving. And I say perceived for a very good reason. We may perceive the discomfort of moving to be a level 12. Discomfort at home's a level 9. That means living in our comfort zone's pretty bloody uncomfortable, but we're used to it. And we're perceiving it's harder, more discomfort to move right now. And I suggest this: the perceived discomfort is always up by at least a factor of 2. The perceived discomfort, we make it look worse than it is. And this is where coming into alignment and energetically connecting with ourselves and knowing where we're going and why can be such a beautiful, beautiful situation. So, yep, back just to top it off again. When emotions come up, allow them, accept them, honor yourself, and thank yourself for bringing them up. Okay, so anyone have any questions on that? No?
I just wanted to check with you, Tristan, if I got all the things that come up and get in our way by our subconscious. So I got
Yep.
excuses, sickness or injury can happen, eh? Emotional overwhelm. Was there another one that I missed?
Distraction, illness, injury, and emotional overwhelm are the 4 that I have.
Oh, distraction.
But it can come up like we can create in almost an infinite number of ways. Those are just 4 general areas.
Cool.
When we get into the deeper realms of being the absolute creator of our own reality, there's a bunch more things that can come up, but for the simplicity of this, those four give us a really good awareness. But if something comes up and it's uncomfortable and you don't want to face it, dig into why you don't want to face it. That's my suggestion. Understand, and this is what this process is about. It's about seeking to know where we are holding ourselves back. And this is a core aspect of diving into ourselves. And this course that I'm running, it's about self-image. Self-image isn't what's on the outside. It's how we perceive ourselves. It's how we relate to ourselves. It's how we know ourselves. It's how we connect to ourselves. It's so many deeper aspects. And as we build, connect, and align those, things flow so much better. Results show up. I mean, I go to the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week at the moment, and I enjoy it. As I said before, I go and I do the cardio, and I used to hate that. Now it's, I'm sweating, I'm working out, I'm overheating, my heart's jumping out of my chest, my lungs are burning. There's no particularly negative perspective anymore because it's aligned with where I'm going. It's aligned with who I am to do that. Beforehand, when I was overweight, my self-image was, I'm fat, I'm unfit, I drink, I smoke, whatever. All of those things were my self-image. And as I shifted those, the decisions became easier. They kind of just happened. The awareness of what I needed to shift or wanted to shift just kind of happened. One of the interesting things for me was, I was going to the gym and I started working out and my perception changed, so my results changed. But my diet just changed. I didn't think about, oh, I need to eat more salads, or I need to do this, or I should do this. It happened because I went into the Foursquare, which we've got locally, and it's like, I need lunch. And I'm walking past and, oh, salad. Didn't even think about it. I was like, oh, there's pot. No, I'll grab the salad. Those sorts of decisions, they come about from the alignment of self rather than I should do this. And one of the things I like to say when people say should, is stop shoulding on yourself. It really is, insert other word there.
Yeah.
I should do this. Well, why should you do that? It's relying on an external source of input, which can be motivation. Motivation can be helpful. It can start us on a path. Yes, should is an obligation, not an invitation. Yes. Inspiration, when we're inspired to be a certain way, opportunities show up and we see them. That opportunity might have been there before, but when you're motivated, you head down going. When you're inspired, your head's up, your eyes are open. So that's really the first 2 sessions.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Tristan. I just want to, before we wrap it up, because we do try to keep these to an hour, I would like to open the floor up to anyone who does have anything that they'd like to share or any questions that they have for Tristan before we.
And I'd like to run through the breath as well.
Oh yes, that breath. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Any questions?
I'd just like to say I found it really inspiring, Tristan. Found it like, oh yeah, I could do that. Oh yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, remember that. Yeah, I like it. Thank you.
Beautiful. Good. Yeah, I try and keep things simple. I learned a long time ago that if you can't describe something in simple form to a child, do you really know what you're talking about?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I like to keep things simple. Okay, any more questions or comments? Otherwise, I'll kick off into the breath.
Just a thank you. And I really like the picture of taking down the walls of our comfort zone. Like that sticks with me. That's a really cool picture. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. All good. Okay, so in this process, as I mentioned, we're diving into some of the darker spots of ourselves. I say darker because we're not shining our light on them. There's an extreme amount of power in these places, and we've often wrapped up our power in unhelpful beliefs, systems, thoughts, emotional twists. And one of the most powerful ways I know of moving through, allowing, accepting, and not getting overwhelmed is with our breath. And there's lots of different forms of breath. There's breath works, there's this, there's that, all that sort of stuff. What I'm going to share now is realistically the most natural form of breathing. And for those, mostly women here, so you may well know when a baby breathes, they're not breathing into their chest. They breathe down and their belly expands. And this is something that we often lose as we grow up with, particularly with guys, told stand up straight, chest out, da 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 da. And so what I encourage here is a very simple, and we call it the 5-layer breath. So the first aspect of the breath is we're breathing in through the nose, deep down into the belly, right down between the hips, pushing that air all the way down. Taking a deep breath, and the chest will start to expand on the top, just that last little bit. And then when we're breathing out, it's out through the mouth. In through the nose, deep down into the belly, and out through the mouth. Making sure on the in-breath, we actually close the mouth and place the tongue on the roof of the mouth. This, for anyone that's done any work with chi or energy work, they'll understand it's one of the gates that's spoken of. And I can speak for this, that even when I'm exercising, doing my cardio, and I'm breathing in through my mouth, I still stick my tongue to the top of my mouth. And the difference that made with my energy levels and the flow within my body is it's up there. We're normally keeping that tongue up there. It's just a beautiful energetic sensation, and helps keep more balanced. The other layers to this are we're breathing in and out the same duration. We're not going to be exact on it, but basically in for however many, out for however many. And it's what works for you, but looking to balance the breath to balance the energy flow. We're going to look to bring it in smoothly. Don't want any shaky, we don't want any rough edges. And removing the breath, any pause at the top or the bottom of the breath. As we go, we're going to seek to expand our breath further. So breathing in a little bit deeper and exhaling a little more completely. So the belly might actually suck up a little bit as you breathe out. And the 5th layer of this is the one I love the most. And that is to bring a smile to the face. Now, For anyone that just put a smile on their face, you'll notice your whole energy in your body just changed the moment you put that smile on your face. Well, we're mostly taught that, oh, when you're happy, you smile. It's also wired the other way around. So when we smile, it triggers off the sensations in the body that, hey, I'm happy. It's beautiful, beautiful little trick that we can play on ourselves, if you want to call it a trick. I think it's a beautiful tool in awareness. So when we're bringing that smile to our face, it's like having a beautiful doormat out, lovely flowers on it that says welcome. And it's welcoming that energy into us. So what is air but energy in a different form? So we're welcoming that breath in with a smile, bringing in love and joy and filling our body with it. And then as we breathe out, keeping that energy of the smile and just allowing whatever wants to go out to go out. Just sorry, we're a little bit over time, but I'll make it quick. So what I get everyone to do, I'm going to go into gallery view. And if you want to follow along, I highly recommend it, just to get the practice in here. So first up is the posture, sitting up straight, allowing your back to naturally lengthen, your spine coming up. And if you feel like it at the moment, a bit of a wiggle to get yourself comfortable and settled, just bringing a bit of relaxation to your body. Then gently close your eyes and breathing in through the nose, deep down into the belly. Out through the mouth. You can make a noise on the exhale or not. I quite enjoy it. Each breath, bringing it a little bit deeper and exhaling a little bit more completely. Nice and smooth. Removing any pause at the top or the bottom. Yeah, yawning is very common as we get that energy flowing. The body may not be entirely used to this concept. And a yawn is a beautiful way that the body moves energy as well. Breathing in deep. Bringing that smile to our face as we welcome the energy in. Thank you, breath. Thank you, lungs. All right. So when you're ready, just coming back to the room, gently open your eyes and note the sensations of how that makes you feel, or what sensations that creates in your body. And yes, yawning is very common. As we start to move our lungs in this different way, it prompts our body to accept oxygen and shift the carbon dioxide in a different manner. And yawning, as some may know, is actually it's a really interesting way that the body uses somatics in itself and tension and breath to shift energy that we may have already blocked. But yeah, I encourage you to keep that breath, to use it as you're working through stuff. And if something comes up and you're feeling emotional and you're starting to cry, don't stop crying. Allow that to be, but also remember the breath. And make sure that you're breathing fully, because one of the most common things human beings do is we lock our emotions down by not breathing. Holding our breath is a way that we lock emotions and energy into our body in what is perhaps described as an unhealthy manner. So I think that's probably us for the night.
Thank you so much, Tristan. That was amazing. I'm feeling quite energized from that breathing, and yeah, no, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. And so you might be doing more of these with us in the network. We'll see how we're going. You're, like I said, you're already partway through these sessions with a group. If some of the people who are either watching the replay or here live tonight who aren't currently a Food and Frequency member, although why wouldn't you want to be, because this is the kind of wisdom that comes through in our group. But if anyone would like to connect with you, Tristan, what's the best way for them to get hold of you? I mean, there's obviously, you're in the Food and Frequencies for Holistic Health free group, so they
Yep.
could tag you, message you from there. Anything, any other ways that you'd like them to get hold of you?
Probably the easiest way. Yeah, I will drop my email address under the post when we put up the replay.
Recording, yeah, cool.
It's a little bit, I could do with a shorter one. Yeah, so if other people want to come on board, I will be running the course again,
Yeah.
probably in 2 or 3 weeks. And yeah, I'm keen to work with any of the groups in this challenge, and yeah,
And just to let people know, so you're very generous with your time. I have to say, Tristan, you need to put your prices up a bit, but no, you are very generous with your time. So I highly encourage any of you, if Tristan's really resonated with you, then reach out and work with him, because he's wonderful what he does, and he, like I said, is very generous with his time. Yeah, good on you, mate.
Cool.
Thank you so much, and thanks everyone
right.
for coming. It's great to see you here tonight.
Cool.
Thank you.
Okay,
Love you guys. Have a good time.
bye. Yeah.
Mm.